welcome to the Black Dog Writes. Today we're going to be talking about how to get started using the 5-minute method of getting from your bed to your desk to working on your project. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you know how difficult it is to sit down and start working on something, even if it's something that you're really enthusiastic about. Some days it can just seem like a really big obstacle to gather up the courage and the motivation to sit down and just start. Often this is because starting is the very hardest part. It seems daunting, and we imagine that working is more unpleasant than it actually is. The first thing to remember is that this doesn't mean that you weren't supposed to do the thing that you want to do. I'm trying to write a book, and finding it hard to sit down at my desk, and sometimes finding it hard to keep going, or finding it hard to concentrate, doesn't mean that I'm not the kind of person who can write a book. It just means that it's difficult. Now, if, for example, what you want to do is study, if you need to sit down and learn certain concepts, if you need to sit down and write a paper for a course, it doesn't mean that you weren't supposed to be a university student. It doesn't mean that you're bad at college. It just means that these things are difficult. If they were easy, everyone would have written a book and everyone would have a degree. It just means that there's a certain amount of discipline that you need in order to fulfill these ambitions. So right now, banish all thoughts of, if this isn't easy for me, I was never intended to do it, I'm not the kind of person who does this. You are the kind of person who does this. The kind of person who does this is the kind of person who keeps trying and persists day after day, even when you're not particularly enthusiastic about it. And that's the nuts and bolts about how projects like writing books and having a fulfilling and successful year of university happen. So we're going to do this in stages, and the first stage is getting from the couch or the bed to sitting down at your workspace ready to work. You want to move from a state of sitting thinking, oh goodness, I really should be working, and procrastinating and finding other things to do. So you're going to use a cue that means it's time for you to go to work. So my recommendation is pick a theme song for your work. Your theme song doesn't have to meet some kind of standard of musical integrity in order to be helpful for you. What you want to do is to pick something that speaks to you and perhaps reflects how you feel about your project. Pick something upbeat that is going to put you in a good mood. Pick something inspiring. Pick something about ambition. Pick something about fulfilling your goals. I had a different song for my dissertation. I have a song for getting up and going to work. But the song that I use for sitting down at my desk to work on the book is Kelly Clarkson, Broken and Beautiful. I like that song. It has a cheerful beat. It has inspiring lyrics about how you can achieve things despite feeling a little bit broken on the inside. So this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm recommending to you. Something upbeat and poppy that is your cue and will continue to be your cue to sit down and to start. So cue up your song, have a little bit of a bounce. The idea is that the song picks you up. It inspires you just to get that little elevation in mood that's going to help you go and sit down and maybe not be ready to work, but to get you in the right place. Now for step 2. Now step 2 is to choose an appropriate place to start. So here, what you're going to do is judge your internal reaction to the task in front of you and change it if needs be. So perhaps you need to sit down and write a paper for a class. So what you're going to do is to decide on exactly which aspect of this paper you're going to start on. And it may be that it's easier to start on reading a source. It may be that it's easier to start on sketching out what you're going to write. Choose the thing that is least daunting for you. So I explained in another video how to organize yourself, how to organize your project in such a way as to create a lot of soft entry points. So today, a new book came through the post, and one of my immediate soft entry points is I'm going to start reading that book because I'm curious as to what it says. And even though it's not the exact point of most urgency, it will help and inspire me to be doing something. So pick whatever point is easiest for you to start. Pick the least daunting thing that you can begin and resolve that you're going to start there. You won't stay there, but it will become easier to get into the hard parts, the parts that you're dreading, once we apply the 5-minute method. Hi, I've moved you over so that you can do the 5-minute method with me. And the 5-minute method is exactly as it says on the tin. It's 5 minutes in which you're going to concentrate on getting started on your project. Think 5 minutes. Anyone can do 5 minutes of something, even if it's unpleasant. So you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, or in this case, you're going to do the 5 minutes along with me. The trick is simply not to think too much about it. Decide what you're going to do, set a timer for 5 minutes, and hit the timer. Don't think, I wonder what this will be like. Don't think, oh, is 5 minutes going to be a long time? Don't think, is this going to be unpleasant? Hit the timer and start. So you can use any timer, use a kitchen timer. What I use is a program called Instant Boss. An Instant Boss is a really old and really simple application that will time for you. It will time for you, it will let you set work time and break time, and then how many times you want to repeat that. Let's go ahead and do that. The key is no thinky do. As soon as I say go, start on whatever part of your project you decided was easiest for you to start in. And we're just going to do it. So I've set work for 5 minutes. I'm going to put on my noise cancelling headphones as I usually do so that I don't get distracted by outside noises. And I'm just going to let this run for 5 minutes. So come on and work with me. We're starting now. Okay, and that noise means that we've completed our 5 minutes. Hopefully that was easy for you. Hopefully that passed quickly. If it didn't, and if you still feel as if you're having trouble getting started and building up time, simply rewind the video, go back and do the 5 minutes again. If putting yourself through those 5 minutes wasn't as bad as you thought it might be, then scale up. So if I'm having real trouble starting something, I go with 5 minutes. Often when I come to sit down at the desk, I can do something a bit more easily. So I start with 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or if I'm having a really good day, 30 minutes. But scale the time according to your capabilities on that day. It's no shame to have a 30-minute day and follow that by a 5-minute day. It just depends on where you are today, how much effort it takes to force yourself to work. As long as you keep doing it, you can tell yourself you can do 5 minutes of anything. And as long as you keep going, as long as you keep doing your 5 minutes, doing your 10 minutes, all this will add up. And over time, it will become easier to sit down at your desk and get started. So, to summarize, pick a song. Pick a motivational song that you love that will become your project's theme song, and use that to get from your procrastination, from sitting around, from distracting yourself doing something else. Use that to sit down at your desk. That's your theme song. That's the one thing that you want to play to get yourself going. Decide what part of your project you can face, even if that's just going from reading something to writing something to drafting something. Whatever is the least unpleasant of the tasks that face you, decide to start there. Once you've started, it's easier to move up and to tackle different parts of the project. And then stage 3, get the timer, hit the button, start. 5 minutes is nothing. You can do anything unpleasant for 5 minutes, so just hit the timer. And if you did it, well done. That's the first stage to a routine of realizing it's not so difficult to sit down and do it, even on days when you don't really feel like it. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.